This video, we're going to be talking about time of use. So one of the main reasons for a battery when we don't have backup power is to be able to take advantage of time of use rates, or be able to essentially take power in the morning that we get from the sun, which is valued less, and use it in the evening where it's valued more. Really important point, and why we have a lot of battery systems going in these days, because of the time of use rates. So now we need to know how to set that up. Now the first thing we're going to do is make sure, say if we're in California and most other places like that, if we don't have an export maximum, or maybe it's 10 kilowatts because of the net metering rate, we want to make sure that our backflow power is set back to, right now it's at 0. We want to make sure it's set back to the maximum of the inverter, 10 kilowatts, so that we got that covered and that's set. Now we can export power if we need to. Now let's go back up to storage energy set mode. Okay. Again, we don't mess with the meter select. We go down to storage mode. And now we're going to talk about time charging, is what this is called. Right now it's stop. So we're going to turn it to run. Those are your two options. So now we're in time charging mode, and we can set the charge limits. Now they're originally set at 10 amps each on this particular screen, and we set it to the maximum that the inverter or the battery is allowed to handle, which is 14.3 amps. We'll just set it right to the max so we can fully utilize the battery. We've also set the discharge limit up to 12 amps. If we wanted to go that high, we could. But that's not critical. Now we're going to look at the charge times. So with the charge times, we're looking at, we want to basically take advantage of that morning sun that doesn't have the value in a time of use rate as the afternoon and evening sun. So what we're going to do is we're going to charge the battery. In this case, and again, this can be set any way you want. We've set it up to start at 8 o'clock in the morning and to finish charging by 1 p.m. Okay? That means any time in there, if there's available power, it's going to charge the battery. Now in California, it's required that only the sun charge the battery, and so we can set it up that way as well. In other places, we can maybe charge anytime we want. The discharge time, we've set, in California, one example is a time of use rate which is 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. Now at 4 p.m. in the afternoon, your solar array might still be producing a decent amount of power. So we might delay using the battery till a little bit later. In this case, I've set it to 6 p.m. and then it shuts down at 10 p.m. All right, so that's going to be the time frame. That's going to open up capacity in the battery and allow us to then put power into the battery the next morning and utilize that battery. All right, so we've got it set on run. Let's go ahead and work our way through. If we wanted to change any of these things, like if I wanted to change from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock, I would just hit up there. And I can change any of these things when they show up on the screen like that. And when I'm finished, I like everything I see here. I'm going to hit escape. And then I got to hit save and send. Don't forget to hit save and send, because if you don't do that, none of the settings that I changed will go in. All right. Another good thing about that save and send feature is that if you screw up and it's like, oh, I just changed a bunch of things and I don't want to do that, you can just not save and send. You just cancel. All right. So now we're going to come back, look at the main screen here. And it happens to be, it's 11 o'clock in the morning. We're in charge mode. All right. So this thing is going to be charging. All right. So we could set this thing. In fact, what we'll do for you is go to discharge. So let's talk about discharge for a moment. We're going to put this into an on-peak time where we're going to actually discharge the battery. The battery is fully charged right now. So now we're going to actually force it into that process. So let's go into our settings. All right. We're going to go down to storage energy set. Okay. We go to storage mode, select, time charging. Okay, right now it says stop, so it's not doing it. And we have the charge and discharge limits set here. And then we're going to go ahead and turn this to run on the screen here. Hit enter. And then that's the charge limit. That's the maximum current that it will charge at. And we can change that right here, but we've set it. And then we have the discharge limit. Now I'm going to add a little bit to this one. Okay, I'm going to make it 11 amps instead of 10 amps. Fine. All right, I'm going to save that. And then it's designed to charge between noon and 3 o'clock. And it's designed to discharge in this setting from 3:30 to 2200 hours, 10 o'clock at night. Okay, that's fine. It's within the window of our time clock. That's what we want to make sure so that we get this thing to start to discharge. And now we're going to hit escape, save. Now we've saved it. Now we can escape out. And now we see we got 4 kilowatts coming from the battery. So there's 4 kilowatts being discharged from the battery, 4.6 kilowatts coming from the solar array, and we're putting out 8.4 kilowatts, actually 6.4 kilowatts to the grid. We've got loads running on the system. We've got loads running in the house. So we need to know all about that. That's telling us all about that here. But the key point is we're pulling 4 kilowatts from this battery. Remember, this is a 10 kilowatt hour battery, just under 10 kilowatt hour battery. If we were to stay at this rate here of 4 kilowatts, it's going to use that battery up in about 2.5 hours. Okay, so we're doing it at a very high rate right now. We often would go at a lower rate. We could choose a lower rate. We're just showing you the capabilities. This is a 10 kilowatt inverter. It can do it all. And so we're running it hard, harder than other units could actually operate. It's a very capable unit. We can run it hard if we want to. We can discharge it quickly. We can recharge it quickly. The limitations on the charge and discharge are the battery itself. Okay, the battery can only discharge and charge at a certain rate, and we don't want to exceed that in our system, even though our system may be capable of more than that.